I've been thinking about changing my name to Quizzy Presley.
Boy, if you don't...
Good, man. It's your boy, Quizzy, man. I'm back with another video. Sorry. I know that y'all have already seen the video where I was like, what actually happened, why I've been so absent, yada yada. But I do appreciate everybody that's stuck around with me. I do appreciate everybody that's been supporting me throughout the whole time. It just means a lot to me. All right, today we're actually doing a most requested. Sam Bell is Elvis Presley's childhood friend, remembers the boy that became a king. Now that's pretty powerful when you have somebody that actually knows who you are. I'm talking about knows who you are. I'm talking about before the fame, before the money, before the women, before everybody loved you. Somebody that knows you. I think it's important to hear from those people, not all the time, because sometimes they can be like a little critical, and another time they can also be a little jealous. I'm not saying that this is the case of Sam Bell. What I'm just saying is that sometimes, unfortunately, that's how some friends can be. We're gonna go ahead and get into this. A quick side note, I remember one time I was drunk on a date and I did like this. It was like music playing and shit. It was like, you didn't have to cut me off. And then like, it was singing in the background. I was like, and she left. She got the hell out of my friend EP, Sam Bell interview. Let's see it, man.
Okay, I'm Sam Bell. I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi here, and my old friend of Elvis.
Just a side note, you know how like when you like at one of those AA meetings, not saying anybody goes there or not saying anything wrong with it, but what I'm saying is, you know how it's like you have to say your name, like, hey, I'm Quizzy James. I'm addicted to YouTube.
I met him when I live in the place called the Hill, Tupelo Hill, and they moved into our neighborhood. And they were one of like 3 or 4 white families in the neighborhood. And he moved into the neighborhood, and that's how we met. We already had our little neighborhood boys, you know, but when he moved into the neighborhood, he stood out there in the backyard, watched us play for a while. Well, when he moved, let's back up. When he moved in their property adjoining ours, we had a lot of pasture and fig trees and watermelon patches and plum and peanut trees and a peanut bed like that. So his backyard ran into our backyard, and he used to stand out there. The first couple of days, he stood out there and watched us play, me and the neighborhood guys. And then we saw him standing out there. We went on and invited him to join us.
I think that's solid though, you know what I'm saying? Because it's hard when you move and you trying to like adapt to where you at and make friends. That's always hard, bro. Like I remember straight trying to do that, like, you know, going to a new school. Like when I went to high school, I went to a high school and it seemed like everybody knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Like being a freshman in high school, it felt like everybody knew each other. I know you guys probably have some times where you thinking to yourself like, wow, I remember straight having to try to find new friends. So the fact that he invited him over and said like, hey, look, you know, like just come over and play with us, like, you know what I'm saying? That's something that you never forget. Even going into adulthood, you don't forget about things like that. You don't forget like the people who are really nice to you when, you know, you didn't have nobody, you know what I'm saying?
And of course his mother was kind of reluctant at first.
Right.
And she was very protective of him.
Right.
So she watched her for a while. It was just a little fence between the property to keep the animals in and out. And he was standing at that fence, and he watched it for a while, and we decided we'd go up and ask his mother.
Right.
Could he come out and play with us?
That's solid.
She was kind of reluctant at first. She watched us play, and we was all clean, nothing bad. So she finally let him come over the fence with us.
I'm glad that he did, man, because he transformed into the man he is today, you know?
Of course, the fence was just too strong wide. You just pull the fence through. So he's over in there. So right there at that fence, we had the watermelon patch and the peanut patch, and we had apple tree, pear trees, and fig trees, and we had...
Man, it must be a blessing to straight grow up with all of that, like, fruit and like, natural, like, good natural food, because, you know, these days, like, I even got this, like, for my son, and said, I don't know if you can see, I probably shouldn't show the title in there, but it's just like, it's just organic, what quote, quote, you know, everything's talking about organic, but that's the real organic, where you can go pick it off a tree, you know what I'm saying, or dig it up out the ground. Now that's organic, you know what I'm saying? This stuff, this is processed, packaged stuff, you know what I'm saying? So like, the reason why I say that is it goes into the mindset of them, like, if they see natural stuff growing, they can eat natural stuff, they can play, they not corrupted by like the mindset of the kids these days. And you know, it's not all bad, but they were still outside playing, enjoying food and fruit, and inviting people over, like, you know what I'm saying, like
sandbar that we played in the sand. We had little mounds where we could get behind, shoot BB guns and all that. And we had a place where we ride our bikes, and we had a swimming hole that we go swimming behind the scenery with skinny dipping, you know.
Y'all some weird boys.
Extreme further, we had a little fishing hole. We would go out and catch. We were catching fish, not on a hook. We were catching fish with little pins.
I thought he was gonna say something else, cause he said the swimming hole, and he said we catching fish, not with no hooks though.
Make a hook out of it, catch them little old fish, and on our property we had chickens also, so we had our own eggs.
Okay.
We would catch the fish and fry the whole fish hole with the eggs, and we never had to go in the house or anything.
Wow.
So we'd go swimming, and it'd get muddy. We'd get out of it and go dry off and go back to eating fruit and stuff.
See?
And we had a couple of mules that my papa had bought. Those mules, they used to pull logs with them, big mares, right? And they had kind of worn them down, so they was going away to the slaughterhouse. My grandfather bought those, so we could have something down there to play with. And they were very, very, those mules, you know, they got to be attached to us. They was big ones. So sometimes we'd ride, and sometimes they just hang around us all the time. They were good for petting. It was good therapy. Yeah, we were petting them. And of course,
animals become your friend too, not just dogs, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know we like dogs and cats and gerbils and stuff that we can put in our house, you know what I'm saying, that are convenient to us. But bro, it's all types of animals that are pets. I remember my mom, she said she had a pet chicken. She had a pet chicken. And yeah. So they didn't, but my mom was on the farm. My mom stayed on the farm. So that's why she probably connects with Elvis and stuff like that a lot more. My dad, he's a city boy. He grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. But with my mom, I remember, like I said, she had the chickens and everything, and she did not want them to kill that chicken, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand them about the mules. And so you get attached to people, you know, they're living you know, things, you know what I'm saying, with souls and hearts and brains, and they love too, you know what I'm saying?
We call it a little old gang, like, you know, it wasn't a gang, it was a bunch of boys, you know, we had that Fat Albert type gang.
Yeah, hey.
We had one of the friends lived right down the street from here. They had a piano, they the only one had a piano in that house. And we used to go down that house. On our way down, we started down there at that house. He played, being there beating on the piano, but he didn't know how to play it, but he was making noise. And the boys, James, his name, the boy's sister, she was taking music. So she was trying to teach him everything in there, but he couldn't play the piano, you know. Then we'd gone down, it was a store, right down half block, store down there that you get a penny. You can get a handful of candy for a penny.
Damn.
We stop in there and get that penny candy, and then we go down to the Live Theater, and there we had our fun at that theater. It's still there on Broadway, and you only had a white section and a black section. And
right.
My brother was when he was in high school.
Hey, real quick, do you see how he said that? And I had to straight remember, like, he said they had a white section, they had a black section. And I'm like, oh, right. Like, you know, like, you see what I'm saying? Racism is taught, boy. Like, it's not, the kids are just playing. The kids are having fun. They getting penny candy. They, you know, cracking eggs. They eating watermelon. They doing all kinds of stuff. They skinny dipping, catching fish with whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, That's what I'm saying. Like the racism is taught, bro. Like it's not. It's not. The kids don't even know no different. Like Elvis hanging out with Sam, Sam hanging out with Elvis. You know, at this point, it's kind of like you look around and you see, oh, are we supposed to be segregated? Are we supposed to not interact? Like, man, shit. Y'all talk about how bad the pandemic was. Segregation was the first pandemic, boy. I'm talking about like that was horrible. You hear me? Because that shit came back with negative feelings behind it. You know what I'm saying? They had to grow up that be little boys. You know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of influenced Elvis as well, you know?
He did, that's the work he had after school. He cleaned that theater. So the man that owned the theater, they got to be real close. But
Smart.
we thought we were sneaking in. He'd go on the white side, and I'd go on the black side. And the blacks were going to sit upstairs. And they had a petition up there. The whites sat over there too, but the blacks had a section too, but they just had a petition. You could step over it. And I sneak in, we sneak in on the black side. He thought he was sneaking in on the white side. We all thought we were sneaking in, but he knew what we were doing. And then as soon as we get up there, he'd come on over and climb on over. And we sit in the aisle and watch all the movies and westerns and all that. And he, you know, he'd look out through there with a projector. He'd see us sitting down there. But we thought we was getting away with something.
That's crazy. Like I'm gonna let it play for a little bit, but that kind of choked me up just a little bit. I almost like it almost got me because I don't know why I be avoiding crime, but like it's just it's like it's so heartfelt. Like if you heard what he just said, he said there's a black side, there's a white side. He said so what we do is we just sit in the aisle. Like bro, did anybody catch that too? Like, am I the only one? Like, that's crazy to me. Black side, white side. We just sit in the aisle. That's like the meeting in between the two.
Popcorn, thought we had a fair. I thought when nobody looking, we duck on in. So one day he told us, he said, y'all, you know what, y'all thought y'all were really getting away with something. He said, but I knew what you were doing. He said, as long as you didn't occupy a seat, it was all right. So he let us stay there. We sit in the aisle and watch all those movies. Then we go down to the fairgrounds where he performed that time. But they had a one-side stadium there that we play baseball out there. And the spectators were sitting in the stadium. That was a stadium for the fair, really, when they have entertainment, the bull rides and all the horse riding and all that. So he used to go up there and sit up in that stand. And we used to have to make him come down when it's turning back. Somewhere he'd sit up there and stare across there. But we thought he was kind of nuts. You know, we all were fools, you know, we all were nuts boys. And I know when I came back, I was gone when he came here, but he ended up playing there at that place. And it was kind of ironic that he just sit there and stare across there. I guess he pictures himself doing it, I guess.
Never know.
And then we come out of there, then there was a copper banana. It's still there. It's still here, but it's in a different location. We used to get a dime, and we'd get 2 or 3 bags. He let us have bananas. And that was our eats on the way back. So we had a bag, and we was eating bananas, and peeled bananas. We come all the way over what they call shake rag, or across track. That's where they had the barbershops and cafes. And the guys sit out there with the guitars and play the music stuff. And he got really intrigued with that. He liked the blues and stuff. We didn't, you know, we were living up on the hill. We thought we were sort of sophisticated, you know. We didn't listen to a lot. We hear the blues, but we didn't tune into a lot of blues, you know. We listened to the Moonglows and something like that, the Platters or something, you know. But he would like that blues, man. And they teach him. They show him what they could. They didn't treat him bad. They took him under the wing, treated him better than they did us. And he really enjoyed that long there. And then we had to get back home before dark. So
right.
Back up the hills, back up on the hill.
Don't get your butt whooped. Yeah.
So he had a man behind him, yes ma'am, no ma'am, which we did too. Well, being white back at that time, and my grandparents, you know, from way back, my granddaddy, you know, white people just didn't say yes ma'am, no sir. But he would. We had to. But he'd come in. He didn't have to if he didn't want to. He'd come in, yes ma'am, and she just loved him to death, my grandma. And I was her pig. So he was her other pig. So that kind of got to him that he was that manable. He could come in that house, he didn't have to knock. He'd just come in and go in and lay down and get him something out of the refrigerator, whatever he wanted.
Right.
He had a run of the meal at that house.
Right.
And they just
respect go a long way.
Loved it. And I heard it so bad when he had to leave. He told us one day that when he get ready to go, he said, I gotta move. And we sort of hated. You know, he was a different kind of guy. He was kind of he wasn't boastful, but he was kind of guy like, I got to do better. And if you got a 22, I need a 38 or something like that. And because we had BB guns, we had single shot BB guns. He had to have a pump. So there's always a little bit. We afraid other people wouldn't understand him like we did, because we just brush him off, baloney and stuff like that. And you would tell him, oh, baloney. He talk all the time. Oh, baloney. He loved baloney and cheese. He said, oh, bologna might be good, but cheese the best. So at this house there, we had a little tree house. And it wasn't a covered tree house, it was just a platform type. And we kept all our stuff up there. And he had a broom that he played with the broom with his mouth, you know. That's where he kept his broom. And his mother would fix us some Kool-Aid and some cheese sandwiches.
Woo, Kool-Aid, gotta love it.
Banana sandwiches, stuff.
Banana sandwiches.
On that tree. And so we could almost jump up there and get it. We just make a couple steps and we got it. And so we get up in there and sit there and we drink that Kool-Aid. She could make some of the best Kool-Aid ever.
Hey, you know it's good. He had to sit and think of it like, she could just make some of the best Kool-Aid. Golly. You hear me?
And she was really protective of him. She kept an eye on him a lot, but she felt real comfortable around us. We didn't do nothing bad, you know, this little knothole game, we call us that.
Little knothole. When was the last time you saw
we was all out, kind of just out together there in the pasture there. And she sprung it on and said, I'm gonna have to move this week. I'll be moving. And we thought another one of his fantasies, yeah, right. He said, I gotta go, we gotta move. He didn't tell me where he was going to. But then we watched them move. They did move within that week. We was kind of afraid that he was, like I said, he was kind of a different guy. We was kind of afraid that people wouldn't understand him like we did. And even the relative, adult people around there, when he left, it was kind of sad because they learned to like their little boy.
Right.
Loved their little boy, let's put that, but they didn't know what they was loving.
Right.
They just know he was nice. He was one of the fellas, he was one of us, you know, act like. So he was when he was in that neighborhood, it wasn't no black and white. You were protected. If you was a child, you belonged to that whole neighborhood.
That's what's up.
I don't care how many of you, what you look like.
Right.
You belong to that neighborhood, nobody gonna bother you.
That's how it should be.
But we was afraid that people wouldn't understand him because he wasn't really boastful, but he was kind of, you know, maybe I should say boastful. And that's the most biggest question they was asking about, and wondering how they gonna treat him, you know, because we didn't know where he was going. And we didn't get to see him anymore. One time I was out in California and I tried to see him, and he was performing out there between acts. He had one that morning, kind of late that day, and they say he had one that morning, but he getting ready for the afternoon thing, and I was in between. But they wouldn't let me see him. That's my last contact with him.
Damn.
Until I was in Chicago, and we kept hearing this music coming out. Young guy was singing them songs, Don't Be Cruel and all that stuff. And I was called one day. The guy called me one day and asked me, was that our boy? And we checked in down here, it was him. And they were really happy. We went around everywhere, off Chicago, everywhere then. Oh boy, Elvis, that's my buddy Elvis. EP we call him.
Wow, okay.
We couldn't believe it though, we just couldn't believe it though. Man, no, he could. That can't be him, some of the guys said, that can't be.
That's what's up, man.
So sometimes he'd like to wear them overall with that, take that strap and throw it back over his shoulder, and, you know, and he just looked there and we said, no, not him, he couldn't do that.
He says, what would you have said to Elvis if you had been able to meet him between these shows?
I would have hugged him. We would have hugged forever. Because that was my buddy. Yeah, and if they had told him I was out there, he'd jumped out the window out there. Yeah, man, the show, boy, look at me where I am now, man. Yeah. I guess we would have hugged forever, I guess. Yeah, one of my buddies, one of them good. The little time I knew him, wish I had a chance to know him. I mean, I knew him longer, but not with him. Yeah, I'd like to spend more time with him. Because we could talk about some old things, old time things. We did a little old basketball things.
Yeah, man, I feel that, bro. I honestly do. Now, I can tell that's a good friend. You know, some people like to just pretend and stuff like that, like to pretend they know you. You know, you could tell that was a good friend of his. You could tell that they was really close friends, you know. I like to think that Elvis still knew that he was out there somewhere and still doing good. And then it was also good for Sam to see his friend like rise to fame and just, you know, become the man that he was, you know, because that was a great man, you know what I'm saying? He's a great guy, you know what I'm saying? I really like this, man. Y'all, if y'all appreciate this video, man, just let your boy know. Go down, hit the like button, let me know. We gotta do more videos, you know what I'm saying? Because we have absent 2, 4, 6. Hey, we probably missed like 8 videos, man. So we gotta do some more. Love y'all, man. Be safe. Check out the other videos and peace.